Sometimes you try to be interesting and it doesn't work out the way you plan, which can be kind of interesting. Talk about that after the show. Welcome to my crowded head. Come on in. So yesterday I recorded an episode and I fought with the lighting and trying to get it to look right. All these different things. I finally just went with it and didn't really know the direction. I knew the direction I wanted to go, but I was trying to be so dang interesting that it wasn't very good, and I knew doing it wasn't that good. I know what you're saying. So you decided to play that tape? No, I don't think. But I ended up messing up the recording of it and couldn't use it at all. And it kind of worked out because even in my mind, it was bad. See, I changed the way that I tried to change the whole look just to make it a little bit more interesting for the viewing side of it, because the audio side of it, if what I'm talking about it isn't interesting to that person, it's not going to make a difference. They're not going to listen. But we're really trying to find interesting things in normal stuff. And it's a lot of what you see on social media is, it's a way, there's a lot of things people say that, oh, there's bad stuff about social media. And yeah, there is, but you have to understand you can get to control it in what you can control what you see by just not interacting with certain posts or stop following people that upset you. But a lot of us want to feel the outrage and that emotion, and they does feed it. But the good part about it is you get to share things that you find of interest with other people, and like parts of your life and all this stuff, and you get to share them with your friends and family, and that's the important part of it. And that's really the interesting part. And for any of you that are following along on the Instagram for the channel, My Crowded Head, I'm trying to take ordinary things and just look at them differently, different perspective things. Because, I mean, if you've watched a YouTube vlog, you've seen a coffee montage, and they make coffee look interesting just by the way they film it and editing and all that, and that makes it interesting. But interesting is such a subjective thing. But we all think we're incredibly unique, which is subjective. We are. Everyone has their own unique portion of them. But mathematically, there are people who show those same interests, those things that you find interesting, other people may find interesting as well. So that's where you get, like, that's why people have followers and all this kind of stuff, and people that interact with your posts. It's become its own ecosystem because there's so many things in normal life that we find interesting, and we're always looking outside ourselves to find interest. We're all pretty interesting in our own way. Just sometimes we're too on top of it to see it. That's kind of important to do, is to take a step back. The same way if you were a photographer and you were trying to look at an object and the way the light hits it, you would want to change. If you take 2 steps to the right, it changes your perception of the light bouncing off the object, so then changes the picture. A lot of that is the same thing in life. If we were to just step back for a moment and see the things that go on in our lives, we would find that it's a lot of interesting stuff. And I just explore you to kind of take a look at that this week. But really, just take the time to find the interesting things and the things that you found interesting before, that now you've been around them so much you may not see them as interesting as they were then. But that's that beginner's mindset. If you're into photography, start back at the beginning if you haven't done it in a while. And if you're an experienced person who's done something in the past, and you say, hey, if I was new at this is what I would do. Pick up that old habit that you found interesting before and do that advice you would give someone else and do it yourself. Take that into the new one and see if your advice works, and take that beginner's mindset and find interest in what was older. Like, how many times have you had a point where you were tired of a car, and when you went to sell it, the buyer's enthusiasm and interest made you second guess that as that car drove off to its new owner? And you think, did I do the right thing? That guy was so interested in it, I didn't know what I had. I think that happens a lot in so many areas in our lives, whether it be relationships or food or any of these type of things. A lot of times we have to find, well, what was so interesting to begin with, and try it and see what happens.